Hello, this is a video to go over the lookup column feature in the all-in-one reports. Now this feature is probably the most advanced of all the advanced features in this reporting tool. So we're pretty resigned to the fact that we might be the ones setting this up for everybody for them. But it's at least helpful for you to see this video so you can get a sense of what this feature is and when an appropriate use for it might be and the problems that it will solve. So here is an example of a common situation of where you would need this tool. We've got, just for simplicity's sake, we're seeing all the services just by one client after a certain date. And here we are, we see that client and the service dates and the service types. Now, what if we said we wanted to include the location that this person lived in as of each one of these dates? Well, we click on Add a Column, and we can't even include the address, location, point, and time section in here at all because of the whole limit on single subtables. We can only use one alternate subtable, and we're already using the service date. Again, read that help article to understand why this has to be. You might think that we could go to our linkable reports section and say, oh, I've already created a report that shows everybody's latest cities. So I'm going to include that there, and there I go, I'm done. Well, there's a problem, and that is Amanda lived in Boston as of 2011 and then moved to Newton in 2016. So when we go look at the results here, we should be seeing Boston, 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 and then somewhere around here it switches to being Newton. But that's not happening, and don't blame the report for this. You know, you told it. Show me the latest location for all the people who are showing up in these report results, and this is Amanda's latest location. It didn't know that you wanted it to look up based off of every date here. So we're going to need to use the lookup column feature, and the lookup column feature makes it so that we're doing an individual query for every single row, saying, okay, what's her location now? Next time, what's her location now? And again and again and again. The lookup column feature is very slow, as you can imagine, since it's doing it just, when we're pulling service types, we're getting this all at once, we're getting this all at once, but this location data we're talking about, we're going to have to do it line by line by line, and that can get pretty resource intensive for really large sets of data. So you're not going to want to use this to get around this single subtable limit, just because you want to try to get around it. You still want to use the linkable reports as your preferred way of getting around that. You're only going to want to use this in these situations where you have to do it. There's no other way. So let's go ahead and do it. Lookup column. You can edit the lookup. And now here's the three things that we have to tell it. Now at this point, totally recognize that I might be losing some of you, and that's fine. If you get lost after this point, don't feel bad. Just close down the video, go watch something else happy. All right, what do we want to look up? What's the information that we want to put in here? We see this drop down that shows us every kind of field that's in the database, from your activities, points in time. Actually, it's not the client field. You wouldn't need to be using this for client data. Like, you wouldn't need to put in somebody's primary race right here, because you could just go and add a new column and put it there. So this is just the point in times and the activity sections. So I want to include this person's location. All right, and now the where condition. So what's the criteria for when we want to include somebody's location? Which of this person's entries should be included here? So we want to do the ones where the date is less than this column. So just like in the formula columns feature of the database, you click on a column to reference that column. So now we have date less than the little internal AiO reference to this column. So how did I know to enter in the word date? Well, for points in time, any of the primary date columns has a code of date, but you can actually see through the database what these different codes are. So if I go to edit structure of this point in time, block of questions and go to change something about any one of you to the importance visibility or the name, I'll see up here variable ID is date. So if I wanted to instead make condition not off of date, but like only the ones where the zip code was of a certain zip code, I would go here and I would see that the zip is the variable ID for that variable. So date's fine. So we're saying show me, pull all the entries for Amanda where the date of that location entry is less than the date of the service. Okay, and because she may have more than one address location entry that was less than her service date, we get to have this other thing where it says, well, if there's more than one, what are we ordering by? What are we choosing by? So we would say we're going to choose by the date and pick only the latest of the entries. Okay, so maybe she has 3 entries in the past. 2 of them were before the service date, and we want to say show us the one where the latest date of the ones that match this criteria. All right, we click yes to that, and now we get our magic Boston, 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 and then as soon as she moves after June 15th, we have that she lives in Newton. All right, you can do other things like put in other criteria in here. The help documentation will explain how that works. The only other thing to talk about is in a lot of cases you want to have kind of like a little grace period. Like maybe somebody didn't go and enter in their address location until 2 days later into the database. So there's kind of like this 2-day period where the service date and the address date might not match up. So let's stick with 1 day for now. So you might think that you would come in here and you would say the service date plus 1 to add in a 1-day grace period. But in EmpowerDB, dates are not kept track of in 1-day increments. They're kept track of in 1-second increments. So 1 day is actually 86,400 seconds. Right? So this is how to add in a 1-day grace period. And sometimes it's a plus or a minus, and sometimes you're doing it over here instead of over there. Really, even I get confused about which one is which and where to put it. I'm pretty sure it's actually date plus 86,400. Maybe you wanted a 3-day grace period, you would put in this, say 1 day times 3. Again, we're getting pretty complicated here. It's fine. And if you're not sure which one side of the equation to put it on, or a plus minus, then just do it and see if the results match up to what you're expecting. Kind of look at some sample entries and just go take a look. And if it looks right, it's probably right. And of course, you can just send us an email with a link to what you did. Send us a support message with a link to what you did, and we will tell you if it is correct or not. Okay, so again, you'll read this documentation to help you out. We will be super happy to help you out, but this is basically what it's doing. We're getting results in a column based off of results in another column, where the results in that other column are all over the place, and that will affect the results that we should be getting over to here. All right, you've got it. You've totally got it. All right. Well, hope that we can help you with this, or you're able to get this on your own, and good luck. Thanks.